something completely different.
This is Shug Jordan, coach of the Auburn Tigers.
Say what?
No.
It's pronounced
Jaden.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is Shug Jaden, football coach of the Auburn Tigers.
It's pronounced Jordan.
I think Shug would like that.
You think so?
I think he would approve.
No, he wouldn't like all of it.
Oh, yes, he would.
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't like all of it.
Like the robot voice part? Is that what you're talking about?
No, not that. I'm still not sure I approve of all of it.
Meg Ryan from When
Do I have
Harry
any
Met
power
Sally?
around here?
When Harry Met Sally?
Where's management?
Do I need to edit that out for you? I certainly
Well,
don't want.
just
I
think
certainly
it's
don't
great.
want. But
I would think that's misunderstood by some of our
But
audience,
between-
and we would not want to have our audience misunderstand.
between that and the trim sheer pleasure for men haircuts ad, Ron gets feels a little uncomfortable. at
Is that
times.
what it's called? Sheer pleasure for men?
Trim sheer pleasure for men. It's
their
it is
sponsor,
their
their
sponsor.
sponsor, Jeremy.
They're a
their
sponsor.
sponsor.
I will, of course they are.
And they and
I
by the
wouldn't
way,
expect anything less.
and by the way,
and you could use a trip.
You should go buy. Hey, listen, you get the hot towel. They'll.
He
I know
always
you got
talks
the,
about the
I know
hot
you got the
towel.
beard. I know you got the beard, but they can trim up the beard.
Rich in a hot towel is a little.
They've got
that
it.
Scares me a
Speaking
little
of
bit.
you,
They've got it. They've
last week.
easy.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Easy.
That's
Easy there.
screwed up.
Easy there. Slow down, high speed. All right, slow down.
I think
I'm trying to
seen
talk
it.
about a sponsor here. They've got dartboards.
Is it a chain?
They've got ping pong tables. Yes, they've got ping pong tables. They've got a pool table. They've got flat screen TVs with sports. It's haircutting for guys.
Dang.
They give you a free beverage.
I've been missing out. My wife's been cutting my hair for 10 years.
Oh,
You get a free beverage.
well, I'm sure that's a great experience too.
No, it is.
Does she
No.
do a hot towel?
There's no hot towel. It's begrudgingly. It's like, please. When finally she's just like, you look ridiculous. Like, finally, it's time to pull out the chair. Take your shirt off. That's me. I mean, that's her talking. That's her. That's her talking to me. That's her talking to me.
That just happened.
So the bristly hairs won't, get stuck in the shirt or anything. I immediately head to the showers.
This segment's gotten off to a roaring start.
Sheer pleasure.
Yeah, there we go.
It's, I'm sure
Wow.
they do a fine job out there.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness,
they do. They're a great sponsor of the drive.
they are. By the way, we do give away free haircuts out there occasionally, so I may.
I would, yeah.
Maybe I'll hook you up.
That would be good, just so I can get a feel
There you go. Sure.
for what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea. All right, so moving on. So what do we got? We're gonna do a little freestyle.
I'm sick of being, held down to the topic. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like this
I
one.
thought last week's topic was off the charts.
Well,
so.
no, it was good, but I'm running out.
It was. Dude, this is only
Well, no.
week 4.
Well, I started to think, these like big things. I mean, I'm covering some biggies here. I mean, what was the first week? The first week was, pre Albie mascots. These, all mascots of yesteryear.
Well, you spent a lot of time on a certain subject, Jeremy. Really, before you launched into the War Eagle Reader, I kept thinking that would be subject matter for a show.
Oh, well, we had you mean just the sheer what it was?
Yes.
And everything. Well, that was kind of what led to this experiment.
Okay.
We had a few months back we had a
We
show.
did,
Or,
yeah.
not a show, but I came on the drive.
to
and we talked
kind
about
of
it.
to talk about the creation of the War Eagle Reader and
And
kinda,
it was a huge hit.
it was
And so
it was a smash hit. So we decided
sheer pleasure for Ben. Called them and said, we want that guy.
that's right. That's exactly right.
So, but yeah, no. So we did
I think
that.
they could do a lot with you, Jeremy. Looking at your head,
No,
your face. I think
I'm not. Yeah,
you could kind of be a
I'm gonna
poster
hit.
child.
How late are they open?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Now here's the really good thing: they're right next to Gigi's Cupcakes.
Oh, yeah. Wait, what? They're
Yeah.
down there. They're down there. I thought it was on Opelika Road.
No.
Oh, am I talking?
No.
Is that a? I just bombed WAUDG's WJHO last week. Good Lord. All right, we're gonna move on. Okay, so
Eddie and Ben Polidor picking up big trash this week.
Yep. Wow.
they're recycling these days.
It's like that. Okay.
Anyway, so
All right.
they they blah, blah, blah. So yeah, we the first week it was the pre-Albany mascots, and then and then 2 weeks back it was tumors, and then of course now granted there has been a lot that was left over, and of course these are building stories, and we're adding to it every day,
absolutely.
In fact, just this week we found more evidence. Somebody sent me screen caps or shots from the 1972 Orange Bowl, I think it was, with Bama and Nebraska, and Nebraska just creamed him. It was great.
They killed him.
But anyway,
the white bear.
Yeah, the white bear, and there he is. There he is in living color. You just see this giant head sticking up like in the crowd.
Hysterical.
And then also in the Sugar Bowl, the 71 Sugar Bowl, there
with Joe Palika.
Oklahoma. Oklahoma got killed. Right. It was that was there's the Tiger Boys on TV.
That's awesome.
And so there's plenty more coming up. But this week, and then of course last week we had the music, the sounds of Auburn yesteryear.
Yes.
And so this week I was just going to kind of pick up some just random things that don't necessarily fall into anything other than just wonderful.
Sure.
So one of the first things I was going to talk about this past Iron Bowl season and leading up to it and everything, we were doing a lot of different things related to old tensions between the big rivals, and a while back we posted something that was all the things you get in emails and everything, the whole 'twas the night before the Iron Bowl kind of stuff that goes around like every year. There's a new one each year, and Saban was I don't know, something up on the roof. Saban.
Right. The Saban who stole Christmas.
You're right. Yeah. So anyway, we posted one from like 1949. And it was 'twas the night before the Iron Bowl, and it was written after it. Now, the 49 Iron Bowl was the second one after the rivalry renewed in 48, and we got creamed in 48. It was like 40 to another 50 to something horrible.
Wow.
And so the next year, we were still big underdogs, and we had a not very good coach. Earl Brown, wasn't that his name?
Yeah.
Earl Brown. God love him. And Earl Brown. And anyway, but we came and won. This guy, traveling Travis Tidwell, won the thing for us, but we won by 1 point and everything. So it's this huge, big upset, and so it inspired a lot of this kind of stuff. 'Twas the night. So this was probably the first one we ever had, right? 'Twas the night before. So I posted this thing, and then the guy who wrote the thing, I mentioned his name. This guy,
absolutely,
Bob McBride.
McBride.
You know what I'm talking about?
Please tell me that Bob.
I want to know about Bob McBride.
Please tell me that Bob McBride does not own a laundromat in Tallahassee.
It's in Lochapoka. He's got.
Of course
his
it is
in Lochapoka.
Of course it is.
But anyway, so it was a guy named Bob McBride who wrote the thing. So I just kind of mentioned, credit where credit's due.
Sure.
And so his son got in touch with me and said, he said it's just kind of like the last week. A daughter got in touch with me. Not last week. Anyway, so he wrote and told me this great thing. He was so thankful because the dad had just survived cancer, and they would just celebrated a birthday, and it was coming up, the Iron Bowl and everything, and they were so proud, and like that they had found this thing. He remembered writing the poem, but they didn't have a copy, and every now and then he would tell something. So he told another story that went along with it. And so after the 49 Iron Bowl, Dad got Bob McBride, and he's actually the started Camp Mac in Munford. Do you know anything about this?
I don't know.
Some sort of summer camp. It's been around for a while.
Yes.
Like
His
since
sons were in the same fraternity I was in.
All right, well there we go.
Alan and John. And,
Alan. Allen's the one we're talking about.
Yes. Okay.
And and Alan. And speaking of fraternities, so Bob was a Pi Kappa Alpha, and so they were up at the game, 49, going crazy fights. They're this is like the punt Bama punt, 40 years earlier, or however, whatever the math is. 30 years. And all right, 30. So
23
actually, to be honest.
23, but
in 49?
Who's counting?
No, more than that.
No,
49
to 50, 50 to 72.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, good job. That was
Thank
a test. That was a test. So he
right now listeners are shocked that I actually did accurate math.
There's no way
it doesn't happen very often
like this. So they were at the game, and he comes back, and they're ecstatic and everything. So they're back at the house, they're drinking and everything. And so they're maybe drinking. Adult.
Do you have confirmation on this?
Libation.
Before you say that they did this, do you know they did this?
I talked to Bob.
Bob said this?
I interviewed him, and he said, what did he say? He said something like, there may have been something involved, libations or something may have been involved or something like that. Well,
What do you consider a libation, Jeremy?
It pretty much had to be.
Is that a hot towel and a haircut?
I'm sure it was.
I don't even know what that word means. I just hear people talk about it.
I'm sure that it was, probably, like I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
that.
it was whiskey.
Okay.
I think it was hardcore. I mean, we're just going.
Was it bought?
Moonshine? It was
Yeah,
straight
yeah.
moonshine.
Some bourbon.
I mean, this is 49.
Brought out of the woods, baby.
And so they're sitting around and they're just talking and they feel that this is such great news, right?
that Auburn won.
That Auburn won. That we
So they're
did this
feeling
huge
it's
thing.
great news,
Built up.
and they're feeling it.
They decide that they call Buckingham Palace. Right now, it's real late at night. It's like
I have
midnight. or
heard
something.
this story.
Right. So
I have heard this story.
So they're back there at the house. He says they're
1949. Now you call it Buckingham Palace.
Some brothers felt Auburn's win was such tremendous news that everybody in the world ought to know about it, and he started with George VI.
That's right, because that was before he abdicated,
Right,
and
to the
gave,
daughter,
right,
or-
and allowed the queen who was only like 18 when she took the throne.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So they
History guy.
They call
Sorry.
it. So
Nerd alert!
And
somehow
high ankle
they
sprains,
convince the international operator. Right. They get a hold involved. They convince the international operator that the call is this like life and death thing that they have to speak to the king. Right, this is a matter of international, importance. Like, right, World War III, and so she's like, well, the king is still asleep. Like, whoever they finally got an operator at Buckingham Palace. Now this is like early in the morning over there. The king is still asleep, and so McBride and the gang says, well, tell him that Auburn beat Alabama 14-13. War Eagle screamed, hung up, and everything. And that's the story.
That
Can those
is
calls be traced in 1949?
that is the
Probably.
funniest thing I've ever heard.
Called him up, and so this past Iron Bowl, it was actually, I think the Iron Bowl was on his birthday this year, and so he was kind of like, well, I'm not back to full strength, but I'm doing better and hoping for another upset, and he predicted we were going to win this past year.
Of course, as
Didn't
a,
happen.
as a true Auburn
But
fan.
anyway, so I always thought I was kind of blown away when I saw that. Called the King of England.
That's
there's
awesome.
an interesting sidebar to that. His
Okay.
boys were in the same fraternity I was in, and there used to be a party called Happy Birthday Hawaii. And it was an excuse for a bunch of boys to make a T-shirt and have a party, as you
Right.
can only imagine the fraternity boys can do. And I think his sons had something to do originating this. And the purpose of the party was to celebrate Hawaii becoming a state.
Really?
So every year at the party, they would get the governor's phone number,
And call the-
and all the fraternity would call the governor and sing happy birthday to him.
Really?
Yes.
That's
Man.
awesome.
Well, yeah, but
They're
I
kind
mean,
of two
it's
similar
no,
stories.
yeah,
They
that's
are
got to be
international, kind of international, national.
Yes.
Right, they've always been conscious
That's
of
nice.
international policy.
All right,
It's
we're
relations
gonna.
whatnot.
All right, so we're gonna
We're
jump.
big on relations.
Go to break.
That's right. We're gonna go to break.
Let's do
Now,
it.
see,
It'll be
Jeremy will get this Groundhog Day reference.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Ron hasn't. Ron hasn't seen it.
I have no clue.
You've never seen Groundhog Day?
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
If you've seen it once, you've seen it a million times.
Yes,
you
you
know what I-
have.
You know what?
I was such a loser until I came to the show today.
Oh God, you rent it.
Oh boy, I'll loan it to him.
I wonder if they have it at Sheer Pleasure.